Alrighty, how's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? Hope you guys are having a great evening, day, morning, whenever you're watching this. This is the latest Mets Free Agent Frenzy show here in WardyNYM, and I'm really fingers crossed under the Bleav that this will hopefully be the last time that we speak on a live stream without Carlos Correa having signed with the Mets yet. There's a lot of optimism on that front, far more optimism than just what there was 3 days ago, the last time that we did a live show. A lot to get into. It has been a whirlwind for myself personally, as many of you guys know that by now with what transpired over the weekend. Plenty to get into, some big Carlos Correa updates of significance. And again, I know that this has been a dragging process, but it does look like that the Mets are destined to get their guy. So much to get into, but before I do, shout out every single one of you guys here in the live show. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. As always, greatly appreciate it. Mom Worm, how are you? Thank you so much for being in here. I see a lot of people in here, as always. Thank you guys. Ferrari Frank, thank you so much for being in here too. For a good member on the channel. Let's see. Does that mean he's only been a fan for 2 years? Said he's been covering the Mets. No, I've been covering the Mets for 2 years. But I've only been covering the Mets for 2 years because Cohen. I started the channel when Cohen became owner. I've been a Mets fan my whole life, but I never had interest in covering the New York Mets as a YouTuber until they changed ownership, because I was not a fan of the Wilpons like most. So that is the reason behind it. I went up to Cohen and I told him, I'll get into it in a minute, but I went up to him. The first thing I said was that, Steve, you're the reason why I got into content creating for the Mets. If it wasn't for you buying the team, I wouldn't be here right now with everything that I'm doing. So just to clarify that, Ed, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Mets do beat reporter Wardy. Yeah, again, it's been a whirlwind. I'm beyond humbled and grateful. I'm excited to share further with you guys, the people that don't know everything that's happened with me from over the weekend with meeting Steve Cohen for the first time at a Citi Field event. And again, it's been quite the whirlwind of emotions. It's something that I'm very humbled and grateful for. And again, I wouldn't have gone to this point if it isn't for everyone watching the live show, everyone that's been supporting over the past couple of years. So thank you all. Again, I appreciate every single one of you guys. But let me get into Steven. Thank you so much for the donation. Greatly appreciate that too, brother. Happy to have you on the channel. But guys, how we doing? Again, another week where Carlos Correa is not a Met yet. But before I get into it all, to make sure that I get this in the right time frame, I have to let you guys all know that today's show is also, of course, brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs. So make sure you head over to betonline.ag using promo code Bleav at BLEAV. That way you get yourself a 50% off welcome bonus. BetOnline, it's where the games begin. And now, folks, let's let the show officially begin. Rich, thank you so much for the membership. Francisco, thank you so much for the membership. I appreciate that from both of you guys. Thank you to all my new members here on the channel. I do want to let you all know that, again, the memberships, I need to update a couple things. One, I need to change the emoji still, because I got Jacob deGrom, Chris Bassett, and Taiwan Walker emojis that you can still use. That shouldn't be the case. My first membership level is the DeGoat membership. I have to change the name of that naturally. So those will all be changing before we get into the season. I promise you guys that. But again, shout out all of you in here. So, Grant, how you doing? Jenny Mets, make sure to follow him. Best Mets fan account on Twitter with over 50,000 followers and growing and counting. Let's talk, everybody. Let's talk about the Mets here, okay? Just a couple days ago, the last time that I was on here talking with you guys, I was not hearing nearly as much optimism as what I was hoping on the Mets front. And it's funny because the day after, which led to me being at Citi Field for an event that I'll explain here shortly, and everything from that standpoint, I was not hearing nearly as much optimism again as what I was hoping to see. Since that time, things have changed quite a bit on the optimistic front. Now, optimism, what does that mean? Does that guarantee anything? No, of course it doesn't. But I think it's important to share because it feels like now more than ever, we are going to finally see a deal finalized, pen to paper, reported, posted by the Mets this week. That is the hope. That is the belief by many reporters I've seen out there over the past 12 hours today and yesterday too. But before I get into all the nitty gritty about Carlos Correa, my experience, exactly what transpired over the weekend, let's get into some small updates briefly for players that we really haven't harped on much. One of them is TJ McFarland that we have discussed in a previous podcast on the channel with Anthony Recker and Joe Sorrell. TJ signed a minor league contract with the Mets of recent, and he has an invite to spring training. For those who don't know TJ McFarland, Didn't have a great year as a lefty reliever. Had, like a 6-year rate this past year with the Cardinals. Prior to that, however, had like a 2.5 year rate with the Cardinals. So he's been an up and down reliever in his career. And like many relievers in the game in baseball, they're a roller coaster. And if he's going to stay on path with his average career projection, he's going to have a better season next year than what he did this year. So there's no luck guarantee that he'll even be in the Mets bullpen. But view this as, again, a solid lefty that's hoping for a bounce back year that gets a flyer with the Mets. And if he provides any production, that's a plus. And if he doesn't, then no worries whatsoever. So that's definitely something to acknowledge with TJ McFarland. Again, makes me think of Chase and Shreve, but hopefully you get more than what you got with Chase and Shreve, if at all. And again, if you don't get anything with them, it's nothing's wrong with that whatsoever, right? It is what is then. But again, a low-level signing for a guy with a career 4-year rate. Don't mind it. The Mets can use more lefties, and they're still in the market for the best lefty out there, arguably, on the relief market, that being an Andrew Chafin that we'll expand on in a little bit here. And I do see a new membership from Eugene. Thank you so much, Eugene. Happy to have you on the channel. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate that. Let's see. Ed Flood, I addressed your donation. John, let me make sure. John, thank you so much for becoming a new member on the channel. I know you've been a great supporter here too. Let's see. Just make sure I don't miss anything. Also, he says, hey, love all the media hype. Well deserved. After Correa signs, who gets moved? Cookie or Carrasco or both? What's the term prospects? I mean, we're going to discuss that at great length once it officially happens. But Escobar will definitely be that trade chip. He's already been considered in multiple trade proposals that I've heard of over the past couple weeks. Carrasco, same thing. The Mets are shopping him, but whether he's dealt or not has yet to be seen. That's still a toss-up right now. Rest assured, Carrasco, Escobar, even Luis Yorme, all those players are guys to keep an eye on post Correa. Obviously, guys that would be impacted the most by a Correa signing isn't Cookie, but it is that being an Escobar and Yorme. I hope they don't trade Yorme, but I know he has been in rumblings as a potential trade fit, depending on the team. Tim, thank you for the donation as well. I think the Mets are definitely going to sign Correa. The tipping point has passed. If they would or dropped out, they would have. Mets have me excited. Yeah, they do. They finally have me feeling pretty solid about this. But again, we got a lot to get into. And one more thing I wanted to mention, two more things rather. The Mets also signed today Yankees legend, sarcastically saying, in the Speed Demon, the Speedster out there, literally the road runner during his time when he was with the Arizona Diamondbacks, that being an outfielder, Tim Locastro. For those who don't know who Tim Locastro is, I highly recommend, just for the fun of it, you go on Foolish Baseball, who is a phenomenal YouTuber at Bailey. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel. You guys probably know who he is. Did an awesome breakdown. A baseball bits breakdown, segments that he does on specific players on Tim Locastro. Look it up. Tim Locastro is like literally the fastest man alive. He is Terrence Score 2.0 for the New York Mets. He's not going to get much playing time, I'd imagine. He's on a minor league deal with an invite to spring train. Should even stay in the 40-man and not be cut as the season goes into play. He's a Travis Jankowski 2.0, a Terrence Score 2.0 with far more upside. Again, can hit for, 200, and at his best, he's been a 250 to 290 hitter. But again, those are smaller sample sizes, few and far in between in his career. Locastro is known for his speed on the bags. And again, down the stretch, when inevitable injuries are going to happen, you're going to need a guy that gives you diversity in the outfield. That's a solid glove, can give you somewhat competitive at-bats, but more than anything, gives you that type of stealing ability. And that's going to be even more important than ever in the game of baseball, because now, next season, pitchers are only going to have the opportunity to throw to first base twice. After that, they cannot throw to first base anymore, which is going to give the so much leeway to hitters like Tim Locastro on first to get a huge jump and ultimately steal a bag, if not multiple. I mean, Tim last season alone with the Yankees in not even 30 games had 8 stolen bags. Again, 2 home runs, 13 runs scored, only 4 RBIs. Run scoring abilities there with that speed for sure. I mean, like a 550 OPS, a sub 200 average. Again, not a crazy hitter, nothing bizarre about it. Just a guy that adds outfield depth for you at the AAA level, while also giving you the ability that, if called upon, can come in and be that speed demon that the Mets would surely be looking for with someone like him, who has 39 career stolen bags and 247 career games. The biggest season of his career was in 2019 with the Diamondbacks, stealing bags wise, with 17 and 91 games. His best season Offensively, however, was in 33 games against small sample size in 2020 with Arizona in the short season, a 290 average, a roughly 400 OBP, and a 464 slug. I don't know how he pulled that out of his ass, but he did. And funny enough, the bat was great in that short sample size, but he only had 4 stolen bags. So it's like, okay, if I'm going to steal bags, that means I'm not going to have the offense. If I have offense, I'm not going to steal bags. So it's more of the other. For what he is and what you're getting, I'd rather the guy just steal bags, and that's what he will do with the Mets if he has any role. But again, nice little pickup for the Mets. Not much more that needs to harp on there. Francisco, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Thank you for your channel. Glad to be part of it. Carlos is out fishing red snappers with Edwin. Give him a couple of days. That's funny. I love that. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much again for the donation and for the membership, Francisco. I appreciate that. Now, let's get into one more thing before Carlos Correa. And I know we want to talk about Correa, but considering we've talked about it for 3 weeks on, I think we can expand a little bit further here before we get into it. Again, also consider smashing that like and subscribe as you're watching the live show. Help us get to upwards of 400 likes by the end of the live show. Greatly appreciate it, folks. I also know that the college football championship is going on right now between TCU and Georgia. So for my live viewers, if there's people that are cooped up watching the game, I don't blame you. I have it on the background right now too. Let's go TCU, baby. I have no ill will with Georgia. I don't care too much for either team, but I do like the quarterback for TCU. I was really impressed with him from what we saw this year. I watched a couple games for TCU. I just like TCU too. It makes me think of the LaDainian Tomlinson days because they aren't a top team every year. Georgia Bulldogs, I always viewed them as a strong football team. TCU, though, their last solid quarterback, I feel like, was Andy Dalton. So it's nice to see them, get some more recognition now. And again, if they win, awesome. If they don't, I'm not going to cry about it or harp on it too much. But just want to share that out too. Justin, thank you for the donation. No, thank you so much for becoming a member on the channel. Appreciate that a lot, Justin. Hype in the chat to you, brother. But now, one more thing let's get into, and this is really unfortunate news. This came out yesterday. Actually, while I was at a D1 college basketball game, I went to the Cathedral in Philly. It was Penn State versus Purdue. My buddy goes to Purdue. He's a senior. Huge fan. Goes to every single game. I was rooting for Penn State purposely to spite him, but Purdue just doing what they do, and they got an easy dub. They're the #1 ranked team in the country. Either way, while I was there, breaking news happened that trade target for the New York Mets and star closer from the Chicago White Sox, Hendriks, has been unfortunately diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So again, my thoughts and prayers are with him and his family right now. That's so terrible to hear. I pray, and I do believe that he's going to make a speedy recovery. I mean, that Ozzy is one crazy mofo. Nothing is going to get past him, even that terrible C word. I think he's just such a badass that he's going to kick that cancer's ass like no tomorrow and then get back on the bump before we know it. Hendriks is such a special player to the game, an infectious personality. I love everything about that man. It's beyond unfortunate that he has to deal with this and go through the uphill struggle that will now come with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But again, Hendriks, he's a bulldog, and I truly believe that he's going to get through this perfectly fine. So thoughts and prayers are with him. Again, I know it's going to be a lot for him, but I truly do think that he's going to get out of this, and I'm praying for that. I really am. So for everyone wondering, is he still a trade option for the Mets? No, he's not a trade option for the Mets for obvious reasons. When you get diagnosed with something like that, the game means nothing. All he needs to focus on is getting better with his health. That's all that matters now. So again, shout out to Hendriks. I hope you get better, my friend. Thoughts and prayers are with you and your family in this beyond unfortunate time. I know you got the strength, though, and you're going to get through this. Brendan, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate that. $50 donation. My goodness, Brendan, I love you so much. Thank you, my man. You asked me once, why are you doing this referring to the LA Philly game last summer? Yeah, for those that don't know, Brendan was beyond generous and even got tickets for my girlfriend and I to go to Dodgers Phillies game because I don't live terribly far from Philly, and even got the hotel for us that night. He was beyond kind. And again, he doesn't even live in Philly. He's just so kind, so supportive. It's because they saw the potential. He had consistent content, podcasts with Anthony Recker, contact with Uncle Steve. Keep up the amazing work. I respect you greatly, my man. And I really appreciate and love you, Brendan. Thank you so much. You've been an OG on the channel really since day one. You know that by now, but thank you so much further for that donation. And just thank you for everything. Really, really, really do appreciate it. Brennan, hype in the chat to you. Robert, thank you so much for the dono too. Appreciate that. But again, Brennan, thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Now, let's talk about Carlos Correa because that's the bulk of the discussion. I want to get over all the other things before that first. Let's talk about what happened this weekend and how I somehow, some way managed to go viral without even attempting to go viral. Didn't even think about it in my head. And this is something that I'm not going to sit here and try to brag about. I just want to go through the step-by-step process with you guys on how somehow, some way, I have cemented myself as a little crumb of a piece in this entire Carlos Correa saga. And hopefully with the assumption that the Mets are going to land him, which I truly Bleav they are at this juncture, it's something that I'm never going to forget. I have the newspapers. I'm going to put them on the wall behind me with a photo with Steve Cohen. But let's get into it. Edwin, thank you so much for the dono. I appreciate you, my man. You're a great supporter. I have the chat to you. So what happened over the weekend, for those that don't know, briefly, I'll run it down. I went to an event at Citi Field because Steve Cohen was having many Mets fans that were either invited or people that were able to sign up through a link that quickly filled up in time slots. I mean, out of nowhere, as soon as it was promoted by myself, Michael Mayer, Metsmerizing, and others, before I knew every time slot was filled up. So either way, what happened is us Mets fans and people in the community were at Citi Field to share their input on what Steve Cohen is planning to build in the surrounding area, the 50 acres of asphalt that surrounds Citi Field. So in doing so, myself, I was there with Richie, my buddy at Jets Media, Knicks Media, and even Mets Media, even though he doesn't really make Mets content that much, and my family and girlfriend. We were all writing notes and sharing our input on what he can build, from restaurants to, greenery, to helping out with the waterfront, to casinos, even if they want that, hotels. I mean, anything and everything, entertainment, just more sports complexes. I saw so many comments of saying bring the Jets or the Giants to Queens, more so the Jets, obviously. And I'll get into why that is more than likely not going to happen shortly. But it was a great experience, had a great time. And after we went through this process, in this event, then you go and we're going to eat. They have free food there. And I just nonchalant see Steve Cohen sitting in a chair, just talking shop, has his right-hand man next to him, shout out to Sully. And, he's just talking shop with anyone and everyone that's there. So I go up to him right away and I tell him exactly who I am. I thank him for everything that he's done for the Mets. And I tell him that, again, if it isn't for you, I wouldn't be a YouTuber, let alone have built my platform the way that I have this far. Like, you're the sole reason why I started covering the Mets as a content creator. And he replied, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, like, as in a joking manner. Then Cohen went on to further ask, exactly what is the status of the channel, like how much have I grown and things of that nature. I told him, and his response was quite literally, and I quote, "Holy shit, that's awesome. I'm really happy for you." And I expanded it on, just everything I'm doing with Anthony Recker, Joe Sorrell, the podcast. So got further contact with Steve Cohen. So if anything happens there, that's awesome. But it was just a great experience. The most humble guy. You would never think that you're going up to a guy, especially a short schmuck like me, and think that, okay, this guy's worth $18 billion. It's absurd. He's literally one of the biggest sharks in the game, and he's just waltzing around like, without a care in the world, from a negative aspect. You know what I mean? He's just so humble, so kind to anyone and everyone that went up to him. And then as I took a photo with him shortly after, my Twitter was absolutely popping off from endless Mets fans saying, you got to ask him about Carlos Correa. So I'm like, okay. I turn around like 10 minutes later before I leave Citi Field, getting wrapped up to leave. I go up to him again and I say, Steve, I know I have endless Mets fans, hundreds of Mets fans that are asking me to ask you this question. And he's like, it's about Correa's. And I said, yes. And that's where he came out with the quote that we know today, which is, I can't speak on the player, but I Bleav we'll have a resolution soon, one way or the other. And because of that quote, which is insane to me, because of that quote, because we haven't gotten any public remarks from Steve Cohen in basically 3 weeks since he was in Hawaii sipping a martini and signing Correa at 3 a.m. Eastern time to that 12-year, $315 million deal, it completely blew up. And how much did it blow up exactly? Well, I'm going to show you right now. And then after that, I'm going to get into all the latest news on Correa, aside from what Cohen said, because I just want to share with you guys everything that's happened with me over the past 24 to 48 hours, because I have all you to thank for it. This is not me bragging. This is me truly being humble and thanking all you guys, because if it wasn't for you, this wouldn't have happened. The exposure has been absolutely through the freaking roof. And I'm just beyond humbled and grateful to be in this position. And again, I have every single one of you guys to thank for it. But now let me show you guys what exactly happened, what has happened over this time for people that are not aware. Hold on, folks. Okay. All right, sorry, folks. I was just informed information that I was not expecting to get tonight. So bear with me. I need a minute. And let me get us some donations first, and then I'll get to showing the tweets and everything. So give me a second. I just wasn't expecting to get a text. So bear with me. Give me 1 second. Okay, been funny seeing all the Mets blogs channels I follow and quoting you verbatim. Congratulations. Thank you so much, my man. I appreciate that. SR, thank you so much for the dono. So New York Times, even SNY had made mention of your meeting with Uncle Steve. What's next for you? SNY reporter, I don't know. I don't know, SR. I'm just very humbled and grateful to be in that position. I've been given that opportunity. I will say that much. Let's see. Would be awesome MLB teams build little league development facilities next to their ballparks. Thank you so much for that donation. I appreciate that too. He found thank you all for the donations. I appreciate that, guys. Now, okay. So son of a gun. I apologize, everyone. Give me 1 second. Everything's okay. Everything's all right. Just give me a second, guys. Sorry. Apologize. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. I just need him. Okay, apology for everyone wondering. No, what I'm dealing with right now. It has nothing to do with Correa, so don't don't freak out. You don't have to worry about that. I assure you. Okay, but now let me get into what I want to expand on with Correa. What happened over the time? I just had to get into that. Text from Cohen. Thank you him for being so humble. Yeah, imagine no, that's not the case. You know everything's all right. Thank you guys for your patience. I appreciate it. But now let me change here. I want to make sure I'm not lagging. And it's not with my girlfriend either, even though that would be a realistic thing, right? No. Hold on. Let me move this. Change that so I don't lag as much. And thank you for the donation. They haven't hired Hernandez back yet. Worry in the booth deal come. No. I can't replace Keith. Jesus. I love Keith. We need Keith back is what we need. That's what we need more than anything. So now let me get into what I want to share with you guys. What has happened. Okay. So now, for those that are wondering everything that's transpired, this is what's transpired. Like I said, it's been a ridiculous past couple days, by the way. Tim, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just realized what you said, so I'm just going. Okay, so now let's go back to the top. So here's my photo with Steve Cohen. I was also interviewed my parents and I by CBS New York, but I don't know if they ended up using the clips because it was only like a 1 minute thing that they posted on YouTube along with Pix 11 Fox with Steve Cohen interview, and you see me in the background, which is funny. But here is me with Steve Cohen, as you guys can see. So that was awesome. Again, surreal experience getting to meet him. So then as we fast forward a little bit, I quote unquote reported, right? The quote with Steve Cohen, you know, that commenting on Correa. And not long after that, I was quoted then in the New York Post, which I have that newspaper physically on hand. I'm going to put it on the wall behind me. I'm going to cut it out, which is sick. My last name isn't Wardy. They changed it soon after. but they put the quote themselves there, which was really, really cool. And then from there, let's see. This is the article that I took a photo of, which is awesome. Like I said, I'm going to cut that up. And then here we see Jon Heyman yesterday put me in another article, and he spoke further on me getting the quote from Steve Cohen, which was nice because initially what happened yesterday, which was funny, I woke up and I saw my phone blowing up to everyone tagging me and Jon Heyman, because Jon Heyman originally tweeted out, the first article for the New York Post that had the quote in it that I had with Steve Cohen, and said, Cohen to Mets YouTuber and the quote. And everyone and their mother was ragging Jon Heyman for not saying my name. Why are you saying Mets YouTuber and not my name? And while I appreciate everyone that did that, because it definitely helped build the brand, build more exposure, it meant a lot. And I appreciate the credibility aspect. I'm not going to sit here and slight Heyman, however, because Heyman then went on out of his way to post a further article. And in that article, he expanded more on plugging me and everything. It says, credit goes to that industrious YouTuber, WardyNYM, aka Tyler Ward, who did a nice job procuring the first Cohen comments since he had just forged a $350 million 12-year Correa deal in the wee hours of December 21st, and excitedly told the Post, among other things, we needed one more thing, and this is it. And that was the quote that we all know from a while ago. So apologies again. Not apologies. What am I saying? Sorry, guys. So then today, SNY also put me in their article, which was very, very cool. No, I did not meet Andy Martino. SNY put me in their article saying the same thing about the quote. And then even on SNY's show tonight, Baseball Night in New York, they had the quote that I got as well. So very, very cool. Again, very humbled experience. I never would have thought that this would have blown up the way it did. But considering that I was the only one to get a comment from Cohen for the first time in basically 3 weeks, and there really hasn't been much out there, that was warranted a big enough of a deal where basically every news report that was talking about Cohen, the Mets, and want to cover this had my quote involved. So I'm very humble and grateful for that. I just want to thank you guys all once more for your endless support. So that's what I want to show you for people that are wondering, what has happened with me over the past 2 days. That's what's happened. I've blown up without even really meaning to blow up. I've had fellow creators reach out to me and say, how big of a deal this was, how this kind of helps open the floodgates for other creators, get credibility and recognition, which is cool because, again, I didn't go into that thinking that thought process. I just went in there and said, what? At absolute worst, Cohen, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? He says no comment to me? Like, fuck it. I might as well just ask him what we all wanted, because I want to hear something from him too, even if it was the most corporate answer imaginable. Like, it doesn't change anything. So again, amazing experience. Shout out to everyone for, pestering me to make sure that I got that comment to him. And again, I'm just grateful that in fact did happen. So with that being said, now let's get into all the updates regarding Carlos Correa. So like I said, it feels like Carlos Correa is a Met. Is anything guaranteed? No, of course not. But I do feel a lot more optimistic than 3 days ago. I was hearing a lot of conflicting things within the industry. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It felt like a couple days ago that we were almost going to find out something really negative happening. However, that ended up not being the case. And right now, I feel like we're going to find out in the next day or two that Correa's inked his deal with the Mets. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's going to suck if I'm wrong, because that'll be heartbreaking. However, if I look at it this way. We have the quotes that I'll get into here in a minute that we've heard from Steve Phillips of MLB Network that has spent like all day saying how Correa is going to be met. Like, it's inevitable. It's happening. And Jim Bowden speaking on the radio. And also speaking of the radio, when Bowden spoke on MLB Network radio the other day, yesterday, I was also mentioned regarding the latest on Steve Cohen and his comments. So again, shout out to MLB Network radio for the plug. I appreciate that. And everyone else that has plugged me in their stuff. It really does mean a lot. But when you look at here with Correa, could things fall out? Absolutely, right? But for me, at least, I just have to wonder if it were to fall out, how? Like, could the Twins, for example, be desperate enough to be that team to be like, F it, we're going to give you guaranteed upwards of $300 million over a decade plus. And maybe the Mets don't want to do that. Maybe the Mets want to have insured after a certain amount of years. Not maybe. We know that they want that. But for the Mets here, the Mets, they're in a spot where Cohen can kind of sit back and look at Boras and be like, if you really want to go and field other offers, by all means, go ahead. Go and do that. I'll sit back and look, if you decide to get a better offer elsewhere, then all power to you. But I'm confident in what we can offer and what we can bring to Correa. So hopefully, again, for us Mets fans' sake, it's going to happen. And I feel fairly confident in the sense where we all know Correa wants to be here. That's been public. Granted, Boras is the one who said it, so he's gassing him up. We remember the photo that he posted last week with his kid wearing the I Love NY shirt. So, and he himself had a third baseman's glove on that was orange and black, and he had blue baseball gloves on the table. So again, there's just there's so many reasons as to why this deal should happen. Or if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to sit here and blame Cohen for 1 second, because this has to clearly be on Correa and Boras. There's just no other way. I mean, how could Correa realistically go to, say, the Twins or, say, an anonymous team, if it's at all possible, without it being because Correa just wants to get the most guaranteed money, and it seems willing to take further risk. And the Mets are in a spot where, while they would love Correa, they don't have that desperate need at third base the way that a Twins team does. A Twins team that isn't even a playoff team without Correa, and it's a fringe playoff team with Correa. The Mets are certainly one of the better teams of baseball right now, but Correa takes them over the top. We all know that they need a bat, absolutely. So that is why Correa, he is that missing piece for this team. I do believe in taking them to that next level, but he is more of a luxury versus an absolute need for a desperate team like the Twins. So again, we're going to see what happens. Let's get into the latest quotes and comments here, though. As you see, I Bleav we'll have a resolution soon, one way or the other. That's from Steve Cohen's mouth himself. But then you see many people report and Bleav that Correa is going to be a Met. Again, Jim Bowden expanding. We heard from someone that's very close with Carlos Correa that he's going to be a Met. We heard that over the past 24 hours. Then we saw from MLB Network today that I'm blanking on the man, Steve Phillips. Steve Phillips went out of his way multiple times today to pretty much say that, yeah, Carlos Correa is going to be Met and it's going to happen the next day or so, and that Steve Cohen wants to make a big announcement out of it. Again, I think he's talking out of his ass a little bit. I think he's just assuming what we would all assume in this situation. The big football game's on tonight between Georgia and TCU. So, yeah, I could see why, should the deal happen, maybe it wouldn't be tonight. Maybe it would be tomorrow or Wednesday when things are a little bit more quiet and you can really get the headlines that Correa officially inks a deal with the Mets. That is possible too. But then you look at what he further went on to say, and this is what really stood out to me, is that, deal likely to happen the next day or so. We saw that. But then you saw the big announcement. And then Steve Phillips said one more thing, which was a little surprised me. Twins out on Correa? Where did you see that Twins are out on Correa, guys? I did not see an official report that Twins are out on Correa. I don't think the Twins are out on Correa at all, actually. Do I think the Twins are going to land him? I obviously hope not, but I don't think they're out on him today. Where are you guys getting that from? Let me know. Sorry, I cut myself off because I'm seeing everyone saying that. Tag you on Twitter. Yeah, I don't see anything right now. Yeah. Who's Paul Lambert? Who's Meat Sauce? I don't know who Meat Sauce. I'm sorry, I don't know who that guy is. He has over 100,000 followers, but who is he? Does anyone know who he is? I don't know who he is. I have no clue who this guy is. Naturally, when I see a name like Meat Sauce, I'm not going to be inclined to believe it. You know what I mean? Does anyone know who this is? Now this is pissing me off. I get he has 105K followers, but Big Twins blogger at TL Shirts. Let's see. Okay, I gotta look this up. I'm so fucking confused. Oh, okay. A Big Twins blogger said have heard the same, fumbled twice. Okay. So again, I don't know how accurate this is. Again, do I think realistically that the Twins are going to waltz in here and just pry Correa away? No. But if it were to happen, do I think it's simply because they get more desperate and Cohen's like, you know what, F it? Yes. But still, I just host of K Fans Power Trip Morning Show in Minnesota. That's who Meat Sauce is? Is that who that guy is? Hey, we're doing this is like breaking news as we're getting into right now. So hold on, guys. I'm so confused. And I know that this live stream has been like all over the place. I apologize too. He's the host of K Fans Power Trip Morning Show in Minnesota. Okay, so he's a credible guy from Minnesota, a local guy. Okay, guys. So somewhat breaking news here. Again, from two credible, known people in the Minnesota space have said that Correa is not going to the Twins, that the Twins are out on Correa. That is what we're currently talking about. Again, Meat Sauce. Yeah, I don't know who pardon my French. I don't know who the fuck Meat Sauce is, but he clearly has a following. I've never heard of the guy. What? I need to look up his background quick. He even does cameos. Like, who is this dude? Mets are interested in Bauer. I did not see that, nor do I believe that unless it's officially reported somewhere. Last thing they need is that freaking train wreck of a PR. Confirmed Twins out. Yeah, that's what some of you guys are saying right now. I hope so. I hope they're out, but because if they're out, I mean, then what else is there to say here? Shout out to everyone that tagged me in Meat Sauce's tweet too. It's been like endless of you. Source, okay, all right. So it looks like the Twins might just be out. Okay. So Ted, who's a big Twins blogger, just tweeted the following. Things certainly have changed from 24 to 30 hours ago, as I alluded to, because I knew just a couple days ago that things were not nearly as optimistic on the Mets front as it feels like that they are today. Again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But Ted says the following. Things certainly have changed from 24 to 30 hours ago. Barring new information, I'd expect this stage to end very soon with Correa staying with the Mets. Cohen's public comments weighed heavily here. Okay. I'm going to just show you guys the tweets too. I think we're at I just got to show you now. Let me just show you. We haven't had like breaking news kind of like this somewhat breaking news happen in a long time. Like actually on the channel. Hold on. Let's do this. I pray to God this is true. I pray to God. Oh my God, that's horrifying. Why the hell? Why is A-Rod looking like he has some schmutz of, you know what I'm saying, all over his face? Am I surprised? No, but my goodness, A-Rod, get out of here. Jesus. All right, so this is meat sauce. Whoever this schmuck is. Twins are out on Correa. It's over. What the fuck is happening? All right, so this Ted guy, I don't know who this is, but again, apparently a big Twins blogger. If you couldn't tell, if you couldn't tell here, went on to say hearing the same, and he just tweeted again. Want to make sure I have that. Oh, he's tweeted a lot. Okay, all right, let's. Things certainly have changed from 24 to 30 hours ago. Barring new information, I'd expect this stage to end very soon with Correa staying with the Mets. Okay, the Twins have had legitimate opportunities this offseason. First time their offer wasn't in the realm. The second time they needed to bear public expectation and Correa's possible desire. It's always been an uphill battle. Left pretty empty now. I do think the Twins have 30 to 50 million they should spend in payroll still. It will be quite obvious if they need a tack on odd additions to get there. A very clear evaluation this offseason should be present when the dust settles either way. And then his latest tweet from roughly 20 minutes goes, have heard the same, fumbled twice on Correa. Meat sauce is no 12-inch short. Thank you, Tim, for the donation. That's cracking me up. That's hilarious. Thank you again for the dono. I appreciate that. Please be right. Please be right. Again, I apologize, guys. I know that this is a little unorthodox format. We don't just show the tweets often, but so this guy has a radio show in Minnesota, right? Is that who Paul Lambert is? Fuck it. All right. Who the hell's Paul Lambert? I think you guys said in the chat, right? Who is this dude? Okay. Air Talent, Clear Channel Broadcasting. No, I don't need a Paul Lambert obituary. No, he's alive. Who is this schmuck? K-Fan Radio? Okay. Okay. All right, he's a radio guy. Okay. All right. Okay. Jesus. Did he get new teeth? Oh, looks like he got veneers. Good for him. Okay. All right. I've seen enough. All right, so this guy is a radio schmuck for Minnesota. All right, that we know. He seems like he has credibility. I mean, if he has over 100,000 followers and he says sources Twins are out on Correa, I mean, I don't know what his reputation is. I don't know. Like, has he dropped shit before and been wrong many times? I don't know. He said he also broke the news that the Twins hired Paul as I can't say his last name, Paul Molitor as a manager in 2015. Okay. I feel like he has a lot to risk here by tweeting this if he's wrong, right? But at the same time, he's just a radio guy. So he's just responding to the I guarantee he has intel, obviously, because if he has this big of a following out of Minnesota, he's got to be like one of their top guys for radio. If there are any like diehard Twins fans that live in the Minnesota area that can help confirm this, that'd be great. Morning show host and many. Okay. Yoshima, thank you for the donation. Let's see there. How would you react to the Correa news drop while the stream is going? Also, I would just be ecstatic is how I would react. It's the best way to put it. Congrats on the massive shouts. Thank you so much, Yoshima. I love you, brother. Appreciate that a lot. Really, really do. Who We need a who the hell is meat sauce t-shirt. Seriously. If this ends up breaking the news and then Correa becomes a Met, yes, we do. 100%. Haven't mentioned that schmuck MLB Scoops. Why would I mention that schmuck who stays a schmuck? Hold on, guys. We're checking the notifications right now. Do, 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 do. The Mets aren't getting Bauer. Holy fuck. Stop it. Stop it. They are not getting Bauer. Hold on. All right, guys. Do we think the Twins are officially out? I really hope they are. I don't know, though. I really hope they are, man. Brandon Belt just signed with the Blue Jays on a 1-year deal, by the way. That literally just happened from John Heyman. See, Brandon Belt to Jays 1 year. And guys, just so you know, we are going to be probably wrapping up the show in the next 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. I'm not going to stay on ridiculously long tonight. Once we find out a result, hopefully if we find out tonight, awesome. But if we don't, then that's fine too. But I'm going to go about my night and then just be prepared if again, news happens. Yeah, Belt. I can understand why Belt went to Toronto. His Belt is he's a lefty bat. They definitely need more lefty bats in that lineup. So I get that he'll probably be at that DH spot for them, I'd imagine. Some of these comments too much. Sources say Carlos Correa now hates the Mets. Hates the Mets for getting his Chick-fil-A order wrong. That's fine. Come on. Do we think we're gonna find out about Correa? Correa's coming to Boston? I don't see that. I get why people are saying that because they lost Xander, but I'd be surprised. Martino Bomb. There was no Martino Bomb, Vinny. Stop. I wish, but no. Don't forget the donor. Let me check your donor real quick. Hold on. Oh, thank you so much, John. I appreciate you. Go meet Sauce. Let's pray he's right. Thank you again for the dono, John. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Correa's going to the next. Yeah, who says no? Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 sec. Okay. Just had to check something. All right, let's get out of the Twitter feed for now. If I see more like updates and notifications, I'll let you know. But obviously, all right, we see 2 people that have prominent followings out of Minnesota saying that the Twins are out on Correa. I really hope and believe that is true. But again, I'm going to take everything with a certain grain of salt until we see, it's official. That's this entire process has just absolutely sucked so much. I just want the result, man. I really just hope we get him. And if we don't, it'll suck, but I just want to know like why. GoFundMe for Casey, that's nice for his dog. What you want, Grant? You want me to look at? Oh yeah, by the way, if anyone wants to buy, did you sell all these yet? I think you only sold one, right? Jenny, didn't you only sell one of these, right? Isn't it the DeGrom, Wheeler, and Syndergaard jerseys XL if anyone wants them, even though not a lot of people want them. If you do, though, check out Jenny Metz. Hold on. I feel like I'm on a lot more edge than I need to be right now for something that feels very optimistic. And I hate that. They're all sold, Jenny? Oh, okay. So this is very random and interesting. Listen to this, guys. Very, very random. Very, very random. 17-year MLB veteran, southpaw pitcher, and Greg Swindle just commented on my tweet saying hopefully nobody in response to who picks up Trevor Bauer. Because I tweeted that a couple days ago when passed and said that they're designated Bauer for assignment. So that's random. How are you, Greg? That's so random. I like that Jesus with the rock for the horns because he was a Texas Longhorn. Okay, Very random, but okay. Shout out to him. I'm surprisingly optimistic. Like, I'm optimistic, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. You know what I'm getting, guys? As much as I am, that's funny. As much as I am like excited and believe that the Mets are likely to get Correa, that it feels like the deal's done. They're just waiting on the announcement. I'm also just trying to not let this be a Bauer situation either. You know what I mean? And by Bauer, I'm speaking of 2 years ago Bauer. Who's Brandon Warren? Okay. Okay. So Brandon Warren is saying that he doesn't know anything. Someone told me to check his tweets, so that's what I'm checking. Hold on, guys. This is another guy in the Twins community. Access Twins. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So I don't know who this Brandon Warren guy is, but he's another guy in the Twins community. Access Twins, which seems like it's a like Twins blog and podcast, or pardon me, just about baseball and about baseball cards. But he's Twins fan. Seems like he's in the Minnesota area, and he's refuting what the other comments were. Okay, interesting. And who was just tagging me in this? It was Sean. All right, this is what Sean just said. Okay. I can't see any of his tweets. Those. Where are people tagging me in? Shout out to you, Anthony. Yeah, this is Steve Phillips. Did you guys hear that, by the way? Did you guys hear that, by the way? This was from earlier tonight on MLB Network. Also, I think I got a donation I didn't address. Why no talk of Cohen going after Brian Reynolds? Because Brian Reynolds is a player that's going to cost you a shit ton of prospects and MLB ready talent that the Mets aren't interested in parting with for a player that they don't need right now. Brian Reynolds would be nice, but the reason why the Mets are pushing so hard to try to get Correa is because he doesn't cost you anything besides money, you know? Oh, you guys didn't hear it. Yeah, I was in the New York Post twice, Blobby. Thank you. Oh, so you didn't hear that. Interesting. Okay. That's weird. Why didn't you guys hear that audio? Whatever. All right, I'm over this. Okay, now let's stop sharing this. Sports Illustrated has an article today about Twins' chances. That really doesn't change much, though. Everything that we've heard, I'll click share audio button to StreamYard when you're sharing your screen. Thank you. John, to answer this, I mean, everyone's been saying for the most part that the Twins, while they've chimed in that they don't have a realistic chance, it just feels like that they're there because Boris is fielding any other offers because the Mets probably again don't maybe the Mets probably don't want to guarantee money over 12 years. They want some of that contract insured. To what degree, I don't know. That's the thing. Aiden says 161 River Ave Mafia Unite. 161 is actually a friend of mine. He's a supporter on the channel. So why don't you stop being a little weasel and be nice in the chat so I don't kick you? Not too hard, kiddo. Let's see if you can do it. Let's bring Wayne Hagen back to the radio booth and get rid of Wayne Randazzo. Well, Wayne Randazzo already left Hoof, so I guess you've been unaware on that one. He's now the play-by-play TV guy, just like how Gary is for the Mets. Wayne is now for the Angels. John, thank you for that donation. So let's see. Share audio. I have share screen. Whatever, it's fine. Can't believe anything till it's done. It changes every day. Only thing that has changed is the Mets are still involved in favorites. Yeah, for the most. I mean, here, a lot has changed. I'm not going to sit here and say that there hasn't been a lot of things that have changed that aren't public of recent. There have been. I'm not lying to you guys about that. I've heard things that made me feel one way, and then I've heard things that made me feel another way. It has been a seesaw of things that haven't really been leaked by much, but there has been information I've heard throughout the industry. And now, as of today, I've heard more optimism on that front. But again, is that a lock? You hope and pray, but that it's still a wait and see, right? I will say that it feels pretty obvious that a deal will be had not only this week, but hopefully within the next 2 days, right? If it holds that all true to what the guys, Steve Phillips included, Jim Bowden included, who granted they have been wrong plenty of times. Not that they don't have sources, they do, but we're saying that they expect the deal to get done, soon. So we'll find out on that front. Let's bring back Terrence Gore to play the outfield. Nope, the Mets already did that today by getting Tim Locastro as the Gore replacement. Rory, what's your IG? I don't have an Instagram currently. And guys, my 1,000 viewers, continue smashing that like and subscribe button, guys. Help us get to 1,000. Help us get to 500 likes. Greatly appreciate it. We're only 200 away. It's my just about 1,000 viewers. And again, thank you guys all so much in advance. Greatly appreciate it. We are going to be wrapping up the show, guys, in the next 10 minutes. So just want to let you guys all know that. So as of now, the rundown with Correa that we know is that we've seen some people that have connections that are involved in Minnesota looking like that they are, in fact, not going to get Correa, that they're out. However, seeing some people that are in Minnesota that are refuting that. So, again, this is a seesaw. It's annoying. All we know is that from a lot of people as of late, there's been a lot more optimism. And for anyone wondering, I meant to say this earlier. When I met Cohen over the weekend, people were asking me what his facial expression was. Like, did he pull a Billy Epler maybe and have a smirk on his face when talking about Correa? No, he was as poker faced as ever, just what you'd expect from the $18 billion man himself. So he did not give me anything from the tone of his voice to his body language for people that are really interested in that to make me believe that the Mets are or aren't getting him. He was just as even keeled as possible. So for those wondering, I don't know where Bauer's going, and quite frankly, I don't care. You have a feeling we sign him? Yeah. Again, my optimism is still very much in the front of the Mets landing Correa here. I want to ask everyone this one question, okay? Mets get Correa, awesome. I'll be absolutely ecstatic, and that's what I'm truly hoping and praying for. If the Mets do not get Correa, who are you going to blame in this situation as a Mets fan? Can everyone let me know? And yeah, that actually might be a good thing that I'll be ending the stream soon, because normally when I end shows, news tends to happen shortly after. Thank you for the donation, my membership, Michael. I appreciate that. Happy to have you part of the family. And I'll check donations. But yeah, let me know in the chat, guys. Let's talk hypothetical. Just trying to stay humble here a little bit. The Mets do not land Correa. If he goes to the Twins, let's just talk Twins, or he goes somewhere else, wherever it may be. Who are you going to put more blame on in that situation? I'm curious. Anthony, thank you for the donation. Can't believe anything until it's done. Changes everything. Only thing that has changed is the Mets are still involved. Yeah, I read that already. Thank you, Anthony. Sports read that too. Pretty sure I'm up to date. Worry meat sauce actually, but the mashed potatoes and gravy on the Correa to the Twins deal. LFGM, World Series of Bust. I like that comment. Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate it. Hyping the chat to you. Epler. I really wouldn't. I don't see how you could blame Epler much in this personally. Again, we would find out. But I would feel like more than anything, it's just stubbornness on Correa and Boris by making sure that they get as little insurance protection as possible on the contract because they're being that stubborn. You know what I mean? So I would not be. I would have to be proven. I would have to see a certain type of info to blame Epler. I think that would be a little bizarre as of now. Nina, thank you so much for the donation. Also, guys, for those that don't know, that's my girlfriend, Nina. Hype in the chat to her. Thank you so much for the donation. Always appreciate that. Let's see. I did do another dono, Anthony. Anthony, I thought I addressed it, Anthony. Oh, what's your lineup if he signs? It's too early to say, Anthony. Thank you for the donation, but it's too early to say, really. Because Correa is a guy that realistically is used to be in the top of the lineup. The Mets have like 4 or 5 guys are used to be in the top of the lineup. So I will say I probably would want Correa. A part of me would want Correa behind Alonso. And then there's another part of me that wants Correa in front. We're going to blame you? Oh, thank you so much, West. Schmuck. Sal, please stop with the spam in the chat. Blobby, hit me up on Twitter with that. I'll absolutely take you up on that, my man. Thank you. This saga is dreamy. It's strained us all. Trust me. And like I said, I really hope that this is the last time I'm talking to you guys on a live stream regarding Correa where he is not signed. whether it's with the Mets or somewhere else. You want Bauer for the 5th spot of the rotation. It's not going to happen West. So you can keep wanting something, but it will not become a reality. I can promise you that. He'll blame Correa's ankle. That's fair. That's fair. Completely fair, because that's the only reason why there's a holdup. Same to you, Danny. Thank you so much. Chris, absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely try to make that happen during the season. 100%. 100%. I've went to games with the 7 line before. They're always fun. Any chance this goes the rest of the week? I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, we thought that this was going to end like a week and a half ago, and we're still here, right? So anything's possible. Where's Gigi? Gigi's laying down, right? Gigi's actually like sleeping at the moment. First time on time. Love your streams, though. Thank you so much, Ben. Happy to have you in here, brother. We are about to wrap up the live show, guys. Like I said, MLB Rumors is reporting Twins are out on Correa. He's just reaffirming what as the rumblings have been on Twitter. He's a good guy, though. I like him. He's a Mets fan, too. But yeah, so guys, this is what's going to happen. We are going to get off live, and hopefully the next time I come back for a live stream, we have a Correa resolution. I'm praying that it is that Correa sign with the Mets. God forbid, if he does not sign with the Mets, then we're going to share raw reactions, frustrations. I just pray it happens, because if it doesn't, man, it'll literally be a Bauer situation 2.0. You know, we're like, even when you look at, like, when we look at the Bauer situation from 2 years ago, guys, the Mets had a better offer on the table than what the Dodgers did, but it was Bauer's personal preference. So the Mets did all they could, and thank God that didn't happen in hindsight, right? But now fast forwarding to this situation, you know, it's dragging on longer than the Bauer saga, and it's all surrounded around insurance. Fucking insurance. So, man, oh man. I mean, I've talked about this guy endlessly, just like I did with Bauer and Bryan. So I'm praying that finally things are different here. I really, really am. But thank you guys so much for watching, listening. We're going to be wrapping up the show. Yeah, we'll cover some spring training games, I'm sure. Oh, am I going to any? Maybe. I'm not sure yet. But guys, that's going to do it for the show. I love you all to death. Thank you guys all so much for chiming in. Thank you all once more for your endless support on the channel. From, you know, all the exposure that I've gotten recently. Again, I have every single one of you guys to thank for that. I would not be in this position if it wasn't for each and every one of you. So I just want to reaffirm how humbled and grateful I am to have such an amazing supporting cast here, social media, on the YouTube channel. And I know it's just the beginning for us and covering everything that you need to know about the Metropolitans. So thank you guys so much. We'll be back live or with a normal video in the next 24 hours, I'm sure. But until then, have a great rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. We're going to find out about Correa. It's a ticking time bomb. Hopefully we find out real soon. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.